From Ticker, this is the Trades and Builders Business Show with Miles Primrose.
Good morning and welcome to the Trades and Builders Business Show, the show where it is dedicated towards the trades and building industry. One of the amazing people that's making a shift or a massive change for the females in the industry is Stephanie, the Melbourne Chippy Chick, and the person that started the Tradie Lady Club. Good morning, Stephanie. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
Fantastic. It's great to have you on the show. I know we've sort of cut into your work time to have you here.
Yes.
It's 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, and I'm not sure if your boss is too happy that you're here today.
Oh, well, I've got a good boss, so it's all right.
That's fantastic. So there's so many things that we can talk about with you and your journey and the followers and the following that you've built for making an influence in the females in the industry. But I'd actually like to start really at the start, and because there's so many things we can discuss and things that people want to find out about. One of the first things is, when you're at school, you're at high school, like a lot of people, they have ideas of actually what they wanted to do, a fireman, a policeman, different things. What did you want to do? Did you have an idea of what you wanted to do when you were at school?
Yes,
Yep.
I actually wanted to be an architect. So in year 10, I started doing a higher level of maths so that I could get into that. But finding out that I wasn't so good at maths, I was sitting in class and it just was like another language to me. So I just told my teacher to take me out of that class, and I pretty much didn't do maths in year 11 or 12. So,
Okay.
So pretty much an architect, that's what I wanted to be.
Yep.
And I had no thoughts or idea of being in the trades at that stage of my life. And during high school, it was more just push you into university. I didn't have much encouragement to get into the trades, so yeah.
So at what level did you finish school? Did you try something after?
Oh no, basically I finished year 12.
Yep.
And then once I did year 12, I just went into like customer service roles.
Yep.
So I started working like Telstra, Foxtel. I worked for some freight companies, and I just found that being indoors, I was just going crazy. I couldn't handle it.
So how long did you do that for?
5 years.
5 years, okay.
So as soon as I finished high school, during high school I had a few hospitality jobs, like in the fast food industry and things like that. But after high school, I moved into customer service, which I learned a lot from, like, to be honest.
What were some of the key things you learned from that?
Well, I did a customer service course, I think it was Cert 2, during my Foxtel period working there.
Yep.
So that taught me a lot about how to handle customers, how to speak to them. I won't say that on television, but how to give them a sandwich. So you give them the good news, bad news, and then the good news. So it's taught me a lot of information.
Well, what's an example? What do you mean?
All right, so your Foxtel's just shut down.
Yep.
Hi, I understand what you're saying. That's a good key.
Yep.
Your Foxtel's crapped itself. That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But the good news is it's going to be back on in about a day or two.
Yep.
So that's your quarter shit sandwich.
Yeah.
So, but other key things like that I learnt during those 5 years of customer service. How to be patient, verbal nods as well, which is really important. Going through drive-throughs these days, it's like I feel like every person in hospitality needs to go through a customer service course, because people just don't know how to talk to others. So I learned a lot of that throughout those 5 years. So it's given me a lot of, I guess, knowledge and now in the building industry. So just talking to clients, getting on a personal level and understanding them and what they need to win jobs.
So at what age did something click and you think, I'm going to give an apprenticeship a go in the building industry? When was that and what happened?
Well, it was around 22 years old. I actually started doing traffic control because my sister and one of my best friends was doing it.
Yeah.
And for me, getting out of the, closed doors and no windows open, I was like, that's awesome, and we were doing it together. So it was a lot of fun. So traffic control was good. I worked for a few companies. It was a bit boring and like really strenuous on your feet. Because you're standing there. I did 12-hour days, so it was a bit like...
Did you get many breaks?
Or only if someone came to mind your spot while you went to the toilet and then came back. So it was just full on. Ended up going a bit loopy, talking to the birds. It was just, a lot of time on your own, but everything that I do, I learn something from. So I really learned about myself doing that. If you spend 12 hours alone, you're just like, all right, you know, I understood myself. I read a lot of books, which I don't really read. But yeah, so I did that, and yeah, now I found that I liked being outdoors. And a lot of my family members, actually, my uncle, he keeps reminding me, he goes, make sure you mention me. My Uncle Paul was like telling me for a long time to start working with my dad. So he was going on my back. My family was really supportive, and they're like, look, I think you should, you know, do an apprenticeship, or why don't you work with your dad? So what I did was I sat down with my dad, and like when it got a bit more serious, I'm like, look, I want to do what you do, Dad. And he goes, well, I'm a builder. To get to where I am, you need to go through these stages, which is you need a trade, you need some sort of education. You can't just jump into being a builder. So
when he says education, what is he talking about there?
Well, the thing is, to get your, like, my ultimate goal is to get my builder's license, so an unlimited, not just license to do carpentry. I want to get my unlimited builder's license. So what that means is you're going to be on the panel in front of, you know, a couple of people, and they're going to be questioning you about everything, every aspect of the building industry, waterproofing, everything, codes, pool gates, everything. So you need to know a lot of that. So you can't just do carpentry and then go to that. You need a few years under your belt. You can't just, you know, if you're young and you walk in there, that's an indication that you might not get it, or you need experience. So after I did my trade, I actually did the diploma of building and construction at Swinburne. So that was a further level than your apprenticeship.
So when you did this, how many other people are in the room or in the group?
The diploma?
Yeah.
Oh, probably 15.
15. How many other women?
In the diploma, there was 2 other girls.
Yeah.
So there was Jules and Humi, which I made really good friends with, and we stuck together, and we were the most...
You still in contact with them?
Yeah, we still chat.
Yeah.
They're both really keen in getting into the industry on different levels, because the diploma's got so many different avenues. But yeah. So
do you feel that like everybody got treated equally in the environment?
Yeah. The teacher really loved us girls, because we would actually talk back to him.
Yeah.
Because you know the teacher's there and he's like, da 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 da, what do you think? And everyone's like, you know, just not answering. But we would be like, you know, we'd be so keen to answer. And so I was really into that course, and I really loved it. And
so with doing your apprenticeship, was your father your first choice, or did you think of another option? Or
no.
No?
No, definitely not.
No, he wasn't the first choice?
No, I didn't think of anyone else.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, right.
No, I definitely, like, it was with Dad, and that's it. Yeah, like I don't, like, some girls go through it with a total stranger. Yeah. You know, and that would be so hard, but I'm really lucky.
So how do you find the relationship? It's like, he's my father, but he's also my boss. It's
how's
that eventuated over time?
It's hard to switch off, because I find, like, when we go to dinners or when we're in our free time, as soon as we start the topic about work, we're like, blah, 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 and we just go on this rant, and then we're like, oh, whoa, hold on. We're at dinner. We need to just chill and stop talking about work, and need to find a balance.
So different generations, different ideas. Do you have some views which are sort of, I suppose there's a couple of things. There's a different generational view, but there's possibly, do you have a different personality to your father?
Yeah, I think there's been different stages, so I thought about this. So during your apprenticeship, you're learning. So Dad's the boss. Yep. Learn, listen. But then when you start getting knowledgeable and you start questioning your dad, or start saying, this is a better way, but that's when it starts going a bit, you know. But when my ideas I have are more modern, and his ideas are like old school, you know, but his old school, you know, techniques and ways of learning and the ways of doing things aren't done these days, so they're kind of like cherished, and it's so good to learn. Like,
so what would an example be of that?
Checking out a door with a chisel rather than a router.
Yep.
You know, back in the day, they didn't have power tools, so we just, you know, getting that technique of using a chisel is amazing. And half the kids these days, they're hacks with chisels. They wouldn't even know how to...
Listen to you, half the kids these days.
Well, like, ask anybody, even, you know, on Instagram, a lot of the kids are like, or even a lot of the comments are like, it's great that you know that technique, because everyone's like, oh, just grab the router, or even a little jig that they just chuck on and use. So I think it's really good to mix my dad's views to my views, and yeah, we're working really well together, but getting across that line is a bit hard, you know, sometimes to persuade him to do the new way.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit difficult, but we really work well together and we're really similar.
Would have there been some things when you were at TAFE? So obviously when you're at TAFE, and you know better than me, but they're probably teaching you some traditional things, and they're probably teaching you some more current ways of doing things. Mm-hmm. When you would actually come home and say, "Hey, Dad, I've learnt this today," and it's not something that he was used to doing, and has that happened? And how would he take that? Because it's not coming from you; it's coming from somebody that's actually gone through things with you at TAFE. So it's a different view. How does that work?
A few times he would come across, for example, material counting. So there's a wall and you need to work out how many bricks there are to order. Mm. So, for example, Dad would do it his way, but he'd work out the square meterage of that, you know, of a wall or area, then work out how many bricks are in that square meter, then work out the wall. But with me, I would just work out how many bricks per row, and work out that way, which is what I got taught at school.
Yep.
So then when we'd come together and be like, "Oh, how'd you work it out?" We kind of just go separately. Dad's like, "I'll work," if it's a small job, obviously, we're not going to spend hours. Yeah. But he'll do his way, I'll do my way, and then we'll like bring it together. I'm like, "All right, we got the same thing. Yep. We've got different techniques of working it out." Okay. So sometimes, we do it that way.
And has there ever been disagreements?
Yeah.
And if, I mean, you don't have to say what they were, but if there's been disagreements and you might stand your ground and he might stand his ground, how does it work? Because it's not the same as just having a boss that's a boss.
Yeah.
How does it work, and what happens when there's a family dinner and that type of...
Well, the thing is, the really good thing about me and Dad is that we'll argue or get a bit heated and we'll just take like a bit away from each other and then come back and we're fine. Yep. We don't hold grudges, and that's probably the best thing. We're really level-headed. Like being a female, I'm a bit more emotional sort of thing. Yep. So what I'll do is I'll just like get a bit flustered, blow up, and I'll walk off. And then I'll just text him. I'm like, "Dad, I'm just, need a bit of time," whatever. And then come back and we're fine. He won't, be the type that'll be like, "Oh, you're on your period," or say something real stupid to like get me angry again. Yep. He'll just let me ease off and we'll just work, boom, just forget about it and keep going, which is really good. And we both have that character, so yeah. Okay.
Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to ask you about how the term the Melbourne Chippy Chick came up. Yeah. And we'll talk about that when we come back. Beautiful. So you're watching the Trades and Builders Business Show. I'm Miles Primrose. We'll be back with you very soon.
This is Ticker.
From Ticker, this is the Trades and Builders Business Show with Miles Primrose.
Good morning and welcome back to the Trades and Builders Business Show. I'm Miles Primrose. We've got Stephanie here, the Melbourne Chippy Chick, and I'm sure a lot of you already are actually following her on Instagram. Good morning, Stephanie. Welcome back.
Again, thanks.
One of the things I want to ask you is, one of the things I don't know is, how did the term Melbourne Chippy Chick come up? How did that eventuate?
Well, starting off, my husband's like, you need an Instagram to show my work. And I was like, well, I think it would be pretty boring and I was going to get judged. So I just dismissed the idea. Then my dad is always called my Chippy Chick. He calls me my Chippy Chick, my little Chippy Chick. So I'll give that to my dad. Yeah. And I just thought, how could I categorise myself? So I've just said, I'm in Melbourne, so Melbourne Chippy Chick.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
August 21st to last year. So, yeah, last year.
So pretty recent.
Yep.
So we all do things outside of work, or we should be doing things outside of work which help us stay sane or clear up what's going on inside our head. So, I mean, like, I make it a commitment to having a couple of PT sessions a week, and I talk to my cats. What do you do outside of work to actually, what are the things that you do which make you happy?
Well, I think you just stole all of them. So, yes, I go to the gym and my cats. So, but yeah, I do love being physically moving, so exercising, running. I feel that when I don't do that, I get a bit depressed or feel unmotivated to do things. So exercise is a really big thing for my mental health as well as physically.
Did you have a routine that you stick to, or like a minimum amount of times a week that you want to do exercise?
I try to go every day. I'm doing F45 at the moment, so they're starting the 8-week challenge, so I'm doing that, and this one I want to try do it properly, because the last one I only lost 2 kilos and then put on 4. So this one I'm going to be actually trying to do. So try to do it every day, but if not, like a minimum 4 times a week, and then in between work and everything else, try to go running and
So what type of cats do you have?
Well, I got 2 Bengals, which are a handful.
So what's a Bengal?
A Bengal is a breed of cat, which is it's related to it's a 9th generation leopard, actually.
Right.
So they're a bit different to normal cats. They're a lot more active. They're very boisterous, and they need a lot of mental stimulation and physical stimulation. So they're a handful in itself, but yeah, they're my best friends. I love them.
Good personalities?
Oh, they're crazy. Marley's very timid, but he's so strong, and he's got 1 less leg because he had an accident, when was it? Probably 2 years ago now. But he's doing fine. He's really good. He's just as strong and fast. Ree, she's a bit of a bitch. She's got her moods. She'll bite people if they're like patting her and she doesn't want them to, which is hilarious. I'm like, yeah, pat her. I tell my friends, pat her. She's really soft, and she bites them, which is pretty funny. But yeah, they're really good. I love my cats. They take up a lot of my time at home, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Okay.
So the other thing I want to know is females in trades. From the time you started your apprenticeship up until now, did you ever sort of look at how many there are in the trades, or the way females are getting treated, or were they getting treated equally, or what you can do to actually help that? When you went into the trade, did you just okay, I'm going to do it and that's it, or did you have a think about, well, how many females are doing this? What?
I didn't think about who or what or anything. I just did it. I looked at what I needed to do to get to where I wanted to be, and I just said I can do that, and I did it. When I first started trade school, there was no other girls in my class or even classes around me. I think I saw one throughout the whole 4-year term at the school, which I never got to speak to.
Why is that?
Oh, I don't know. It was just because she was in another class and we'd just walk past, and it wouldn't really be. It was just weird. I wasn't going to run up to her. But yeah, it was very hard. But at the start, it's just like nervous sort of thing. when I first started, I thought of this the other day actually, I remembered when I first started trade school, when I was starting, I was blonde, but I dyed my hair brown so that I wouldn't be judged on being a blonde.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that the other day because I felt like, obviously everyone's judged on appearance when you first see them. Obviously it's not a good thing, but naturally you judge something when you first see it. So I was like, oh, I'm going to be walking into a classroom full of guys, young, old, whatever, and they're going to just laugh at me. They're going to think, what is she actually doing here? Does she actually think?
Do you think that you put in more effort to make sure that the standard of your work was really high so that people wouldn't judge you in a sense?
Yeah, I just did the best I could do.
Yeah.
Just in general, you've got to just prove yourself all the time. As a female in the trade, you're just constantly proving that you can, who you are, or who I am. When you walk onto or when a guy walks onto a site, he thinks that I'm a helper, I'm helping Dad, or I'm a cleaner, or I'm whatever. They don't think I'm a tradie, that I'm qualified.
Does that still happen, or?
Oh yeah. It will probably always happen. You know, you're getting out of your truck, they look at you funny, but then when you open your toolbox and you got your belt, your guns, all these tools, you're like, yeah, now what? You know, I'm an actual tradie. They're like, oh, okay. You know, even yesterday I walked onto my cousin's site to drop off my fixing gun to him to use.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, oh, be careful with that gun. And I'm like, I've been using this for like 7 years. I think I know, you know, they talk to me as if I'm a girl holding a nail gun. Like, yeah. It's just hard to explain, but there's a lot of instances. It's always going to happen, and you just got to take it on the chin, move forward. I used to get angry. I used to get really angry and kind of have a bad feedback.
So with your father obviously being on a lot of projects when you're working, and that might happen, or people might look at you a certain way. Would he not get involved, or would he just let you?
Yeah. He kind of stands on the side actually, because he knows I'm quite feisty, and he knows that I will defend myself.
So he's probably having a little bit of a snigger, thinking.
Yeah, he's like,
you waited.
Yeah, you're messing with the wrong girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, like one time, even a trade actually got a bit physical with me, and right next to my dad.
Yeah.
You know, it was very close with me in a not comfortable way.
Yeah.
And then time went on, and he was a tradie we'd use all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting next to my dad reading plans, and he's like talking, and I'm kind of a bit dismissive because we're working. And then he's like put his hand on my shoulder. I'm like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I go, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Oh, don't touch me. Because Dad knows I'll stick up for myself. So you really got to, being a trade is not easy. Being a female in the trade is even harder.
Yeah.
I'm not saying guys get it easy, but being a female in the trade is a lot harder than being a male in the trade.
Yeah.
Just from being a girly girl, from being a woman in general, just there's so many aspects where we just get treated differently and looked at differently.
Do you think that's gradually changing, or?
I think it is. I really think it is, and I think that this social media aspect and the Tradie Lady Club's really opening people's eyes and showing everyone how many of us there are. And they're like, these girls can actually work, you know. So many people like, oh, when I first saw you, you know, I thought you were a tool model, but now I've seen your work and you can actually work. Like you've got some skillful, you know, things. You're a great carpenter, you're a good builder.
What would be a couple of examples of you doing some work where I would think that's only a man can do that? What would be something that comes to mind where you've done that and actually really shown them up?
Yeah, well, mostly on pretty much all labouring. We hire labourers to do obviously the manual work, and I say this all the time, just because you're strong doesn't mean you can lift things. You know, you need to have your mind in it as well. So you got a sleeper, right? You lift it in a certain way, or even you got a big object. There's ways of manipulating it to move it without using force. You're using your brain. You know what I mean? So, you know, we hire these labourers and they're weaker than me. And I'm like, look, you don't need to, you know, and I'm showing them what to do. Like, I can't lift that. I'm like, here, look, and then I'll lift it for them. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's a lot of instances, even when, like on one of my posts, you know, cut a beam, lifted it, had it up with me, climbed a ladder, went in the roof, cut out the joists, trucked the beam in, and, you know, and everyone's like, wow. she can do that. And I'm like, well, that's what we do. It's no different.
So you're doing a bit of the work that a traditional male would do, but it sounds like sometimes you're doing it a bit smarter than what they would do, instead of them having to use brute force all the time.
Yeah. So, there's certain ways that you can do things, and you think that way because, we're not physically as strong. We're not physically as tall. We're not equal in that way, and I've never said that. All I'm saying that we can do a job that a man can do. Doesn't mean it's the same, doesn't mean it's the same way or equally, but we still can do it. So if we're doing it smarter, or if we're doing it a different way, we're doing it. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to take a short break, and what we're going to talk about when you come back is the impact that you'd like to see on the industry to do with female trades when we come back. You're on the Trades and Builders Business Show. I'm Miles Primrose. We'll be back with you very soon.
This is Ticker. This is Ticker.
From Ticker, this is the Trades and Builders Business Show with Miles Primrose.
Good morning and welcome back to the Trades and Builders Business Show. I'm Miles Primrose. I'm the Australia's Trades and Building Business Mentor, and we've got Stephanie here today who has created the Tradie Lady Club, and as she's known as the Melbourne Chippy Chick. So Steph, one thing I want to ask you about, the female side of things. There's a few questions I've got. Along your journey from when you started up until now, what are some things that you've possibly seen that there's been an imbalance between you and males? Also, what's something that when females are actually doing your trade that you think would annoy you that females are doing, and maybe they're getting attention for the wrong reasons, or what annoys you?
Well, firstly, the imbalance, I guess, is a lot of females would agree with this. Just not having the mentality that a woman may be on your job site. So, your public or the portaloos, the guys in there, they can use it how they want. But when women walk in, it's like maybe they should have 2 portaloos, know. Just the mentality of seeing a female on site. Understand it's very different. Understand it's something that is increasing in the industry, but just the way people go about it, and when they first see a woman, they need to kind of control the way they act, I feel. Some men...
How you feel that you want them to, or...?
Well, I feel that men, as soon as you walk on a job site, some men can't even control themselves, like how they're acting.
Okay.
For example, someone will be like, oh my God, I thought you were a man, and then you turned around. It's like, why do you have to say that? Think it, just keep walking. You don't have to make me more uncomfortable, When it's hot, we want to wear, guys can run around topless on top of roofs, framing away, but us women, we have to stay relatively proper in a casual dress, that it's not inappropriate, you know. So, some women, it's been a bit of an uproar at the moment where some women feel like, why can you work topless but I can't work in a crop top?
So do you think that some women are making it, providing the wrong reputation for the other females in the industry? Is that?
Yeah, I feel like some of us are trying to advocate or bring that message across that we want respect. We want to be not sexually harassed on site. But then there's some girls that pursue that same thing, but then give people a reason to sexually harass them or give them those comments.
Attracting the attention the wrong way.
Attention, Like, for example, when I first started my Instagram or during the journey, I'm married. So I wouldn't even do it initially. But there's some people with a high following that do show a lot of skin and cleavage and bum to get a bit more followers, and nothing against those people, but that was my main goal at the start of Instagram. I will never do that, and that's my key, to show young girls that you don't need to show skin to get a following, which is what I've done. I've worked hard, I show my work, I show my skills, I show my personality, and I don't need to show my body.
So look, I know the word professional is overused in so many ways, but that's really what your aim is, to actually show people that you and a lot of the people that are following you, that you're very good at your trade and you're bringing across a professional image as a tradesperson. Is that right?
So when I work and when I do things, I want to do it so it's more, it's good to show women are doing it and just to spread that vision. But also to those that already know that there's women in the industry, maybe show something educational or show a new tool, something that's stimulating to the brain, not just looking at it and it's a new makeup, or no offense, but you know what I mean, just something that's a bit more stimulating and something that you would learn from watching my videos rather than just watching and someone showing off. Okay.
Over time, from when you started up until now, what would you like to see as a positive result, or if you could send a message or help the females in the industry, what would be some things that you would like to see change in the way that they're perceived?
Some girls go through a really hard time, and
for what reason?
Just in their life in general, physically abused or mentally abused, or just have anxiety, depression. Having the Tradie Lady Club, I've just spoken to hundreds of women, and the things that they've gone through is just mind blowing. Like I can't even fathom that they're doing this trade with that much stress on them. And seeing that, I just want people, males or anyone in the industry, to just give us a fair go.
Yeah.
You know, we're here trying to make some money and do what we love.
So what does a fair go mean to you?
Fair go means not judge us by the first impression, you know, or do it silently. Respect us. Some girls don't even get spoken to on lunchtimes. They're sitting in the tea room, them all alone. Like, no one will come up to them and say, "Hey, how you going? You know, how you finding the job?" Just talk to us like a normal person. Yeah, just treat us like a normal employee.
So I suppose that's a good point. Make sure that everybody is part of the team and everybody gets treated equally. So with that, and look, some females are different, but obviously a lot of trades and builders, they're different in, some might swear, some might not, how they carry on, some are silly, some are really silly, some are not. So how would you expect to be treated if you're in a lunchroom on a site, one of those temporary buildings, that type of thing? Do you expect guys to be different in, for them not to swear or the way they carry on? Like, what is the happy medium for that?
It's hard. As we're stepping into what's known as a male-dominated industry, the guys and what they talk about at lunchtimes is pretty funny. Like, for me, I think it's funny, but a lot of women find it offensive.
Because it's hard, because you wanted to be treated equally.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, do they, and I make it a thing when, you know, if there's a female in my workshop, I don't want people to swear, because that's just me, that's just the way I was brought up. But and then later on, a few days later on, the female might say, "Look, it's okay, don't worry about it." But to me, just out of a level of respect initially, is just to ease it off, at least to start off with. Because there might be a female that comes in that actually doesn't want that. That's just, so where do you think the happy medium is for that?
I feel in this industry you need to be really flexible. So as a woman, I'm coming into this industry, I'm not going to control everyone and say, "Oh, you shouldn't swear, you shouldn't talk about who you slept with last night, you shouldn't talk about this," because that's what they would usually talk about. You know what I mean? And that's when I come in and start pointing, and that's when you're going to start being isolated. Do you know what I mean? So if you want to fit in and they're talking about that, maybe sit away if you don't want to hear it. You don't tell them, "Oh, don't do that, don't talk about that," because it's inappropriate. You're on a work site. The culture of tradies, I love being a tradie because of the culture. I don't like working in the office.
So when you say the culture, what's your thoughts around that?
Sitting on the floor and eating lunch, using my hands and eating my lunch, dropping my food everywhere.
No, you haven't eaten that, have you? No, you're not going with the 3-second rule, are you?
Yeah. Why not? 3 seconds is 3 seconds. But, you know, just being real casual, not having to wear a suit, not worrying about swearing. You know, in an office, it's like bullying, harassment, all this. I couldn't deal with that. So when I hear about those stories of people working in offices, I'm just like, whew, this is why I love being a tradie, because I can just be myself. This is how I've always been. Like, I sit like a guy. And if I'm doing that in an office, everyone's like, "Steph, shut your legs, like sit a bit more proper." And I'm like, "But I don't want to. It's not comfortable for me." So I feel the culture is, I feel comfortable in that culture. I grew up around boys. So them talking about all this stuff and swearing, it's like nothing to me. So if you're a woman coming into the industry, you need to understand that this now and was a male-dominated industry. And these men come to work and love smoko and love lunch, and these are their mates, and they all talk about this stuff. So if you're trying to feel welcome and come into it, you got to kind of accept it, as well as maybe show them in a way a bit less that you don't like it. Maybe just go away, and then they'll be like, "Oh, maybe it was a bit inappropriate."
So if you think about what you've learned so far, and there's a female apprentice, she's probably finished her apprenticeship, and she's been working for somebody else for a couple of years. She's about to start her own business, and she's sort of got a similar attitude to you, but a few years younger. Not saying that you're old, but what would you say to her to give her some guidance on the way she should need to be treated, want to be treated, some advice? What would you say for her approach to be?
I feel, or this is how I feel when I'm working, is don't picture yourself, I know it's a bit weird, but as a woman. Just picture yourself as a worker, just a normal person. Because if you walk into a client's house or walk into a room of people and you think, oh, I'm a woman and it's different and they're going to judge me, that's going to come across to everyone. But if you just walk in casual as and you're just like, hey guys, and you like, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, and you need to know that there's nothing wrong with you working in the trade. Stop feeling that way and just be confident, know what you're doing and work towards your goals. That's it. So if you want to be, if you want to open your own business, you need to have, your confidence needs to be very, very high, and you need to not worry about other people. So you just need to walk in and just be confident and think, that's it, I can do this just like anyone else can.
Okay, so the last thing I want to ask you before we go to a break is that just say a female tradesperson, she started her own business, she's been doing that for 12 months, now she's ready to hire somebody, and she might end up hiring a guy or a girl, it doesn't matter, just whoever the best person is that comes along. What do you think that person, that female, should do to sort of, obviously when you hire somebody, you want to have a bit of an induction, tell them what the rules are, this is the way we do business, that type of stuff. What would be 2 or 3 things that you, if you were that person about to hire some people, what would you, we'll make it like this, they're going to hire a male and a female at the same time because they want to grow pretty quickly. They're inducting these people. What would be some rules, or not rules, but this is the way we run our business? What would you say?
In terms of
treating people, the way we talk to people, the way we're perceived, those types of things.
Well, to start working, I would have had to put them through an interview, so they would have, skills of common sense. But being a male working with a female, there needs to be respect. There needs to be an understanding as well, because we are different. Males and females are very different in the way we learn, just everything, mentally, physically. We may not be able to lift something. Some girls lift things and don't tell their bosses that they're in pain. And that's that's really bad, because some women actually, we need to have kids, and if you lift something and you've hurt yourself, that's not good.
Yep.
So you need to be able to, hey mate, I can't lift this, or just feel comfortable with one another and respect one another's capabilities. Because just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you can't do something, but if there's a man that's weaker than the woman, it's the same thing.
Yep.
He shouldn't feel uncomfortable to say, I can't do that, I can't lift that. So you need to work together as a team and respect each other.
Okay.
It goes both ways.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about your weekly structure. I know you've got so much that you pack into that, so I'd like to know about what you do inside of work, outside of work, that type of thing. You're on the Trades and Builders Business Show. My name's Miles Primrose, and we'll be back with you very soon.
This is Ticker.
From Ticker, this is the Trades and Builders Business Show with Miles Primrose.
Good morning and welcome back to the Trades and Builders Business Show. You're with the most amazing Australian trades and building business mentor, me, Miles Primrose. And you're with the most amazing Chippy Chick in Australia. It's Stephanie. G'day, Stephanie.
G'day, how are you?
Fantastic.
That's good.
So what I want to talk to you about is your weekly structure. So
Yes.
some of us have weekly structures which are not suitable. Some of us do. Some of us have a weekly structure that we just do stuff. We're reactive. What I want to go through is how was your week when you were an apprentice? Like, you were just an apprentice, you came home and what happened? Then you started working for your father, and also now obviously you've got the Instagram following, that type of stuff, which is a little bit different. So let's start with when you were an apprentice. What did your normal week look like then?
Well, my normal week was quite, I guess, easy.
Yep.
Just go to work, come home, just chill out, really. Didn't really do much. I think when I first started my apprenticeship, I was single. So I just had light and easy and just chilled out. Had a beer here and there. Didn't do too much.
What type of beer?
Corona.
Okay, yep, with the...
Lemon?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
100%. So yeah, just pretty easy, relaxing.
Did you have cats then?
No, I had no pets,
Yeah.
so I was just like chilling out really. Just
Yeah.
did whatever, meet up with friends, go for dinners. Didn't have too much responsibilities at
Yeah.
that time, which was, sounds good when you think about it now. But yeah, it was good. So moving toward...
So now working with your father,
Yeah.
the first part on that journey, what was your weekly structure then like? And would you travel with him in the vehicle initially to the job, or
No,
what happened there?
No, never. So we always would just drive separately.
Yep.
And I was never living with Dad during my apprenticeship.
Okay.
So I pretty much, from when I started working with Dad, it didn't really change too much. So Dad was still like main control of the business. So I would come home, maybe do some emails or photocopying, things like that, following up. But at the moment, taking more responsibility of the building industry, he's leaving more responsibility to me, like trade contracts, filling out things, just more paperwork that I'm bringing home at the moment compared to when I was an apprentice. It was more just enjoy the
And would you be
trades.
somebody who's like hungry, saying, "Can you teach me more? Teach me more"?
Yeah, at this moment we don't have too much like extra time to learn more, so
Yeah.
it's more just trying to get by at the moment with everything that's happening, with the Tradie Lady Club, Melbourne Chippy Chick, and the building company.
Yep.
It's not much time to sit back and be like, oh, I want to learn more. Plus, I'll be doing studying for the builder's license soon. So
how many hours a week on average are you actually working in your job, I suppose you could call it? So is it 40, 45 hours, 50 hours?
yeah, well, with my father,
Yes.
the carpentry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty much full time. So Monday 7:30 till 3:30, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And then after that, I would just come home and start working on, the Tradie Lady Club and my Instagram posting, trying to create new content and things like that.
And is your father pretty good at actually switching off? Like some people actually just keep working and...
Nah, he doesn't switch off.
He doesn't switch off?
Nah, he's always ticking.
Yeah.
As a builder, you're always thinking you need to be, 3-4 steps ahead of every trade. So yeah, he finds it hard to switch off.
Yep.
But yeah, that's rubbing off onto me at the
And
moment.
if there's sometimes, and you know better than me, projects run behind for different reasons, weather, supplies, whatever the case may be, and when that the weather's better or the supplies come in, do you then put in the extra hours, like you work a longer day, or?
No, if we have to, sometimes we get caught up, like we're more enjoying ourselves, like we'll be doing something, we don't want to pack up and come back and do it again, that
Yep.
we'll just stay those extra hours and finish it.
Yep.
But with the time schedules we usually get or give to the client, we usually finish within that time anyway, and yeah, so
Okay.
we don't work weekends on the job site unless it's a concrete pour, something important that's happening that needs to happen on a weekend.
Yeah.
We'll be there. So, but yeah, usually just Monday to Friday.
So if you look at your weekly structure, say a month ago, and you look at your weekly structure now, and a disclaimer, I know you've done a day of the program that I run. And one of the things we did is actually look at your weekly structure on average in the last 6 months, and then we went through a process to actually look at a better
I want
life,
it to
and
be,
then
yeah.
you look at a new weekly structure. So could you explain what it was like previously and possibly what wasn't working productively, and maybe something you've changed, some little changes you've made which are positive?
Well, it used to be like get home and I'd jump in the office and I'd just be working in there. I'd then go to the gym or try to go to the gym if I wasn't too busy, and then get on the couch, then I'd jump back on my phone, which is work again. So I was just constantly working, and I'd never have some free time, you know, with my husband, or just put everything down and just enjoy each other's company. So I realised that I was doing that a lot. Being on the phone, it's just an issue that a lot of people have, just being on their phone too much, especially when it holds everything.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a laptop, I got my phone. Calendars, reminders, alarm, everything's on there, banking, everything. So I'm on my phone a lot. So I found that doing the program and having a look at my weekly schedule, that I should be, you know, get home, stay in the zone where you're not working for, you know, your 2-3 hours, maybe work for an hour, do your post, whatever time you do your post, and then go back to family time. So I found that recognizing how much time, like when you're physically colouring in the table,
Yep.
how much time I'm actually working and on my phone. Then when I'm actually working and on my phone, I'm like, wow, I shouldn't be doing this now. And it makes you realise that you should be doing something else. So small changes like that I've made just within, you know, the couple or a week.
Yep.
It's just helped me realise that what I should and shouldn't be doing to clear my mind and also make me focus when I am needing to work.
Do you feel a little bit lighter now that you've made those small changes, or a little bit?
Yeah.
I suppose you can be a little bit more in control, like step by step.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like, you know, back then I was just like, work. Now it's like, okay, no, free time now, relax. Then in that 1 hour you dedicate to work, you actually work.
So you're giving yourself permission to actually switch off for a little bit of time.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I think we all need to learn.
Yep.
Because it's very important. Like, especially if you're running a business, it's hard to clear your mind and to find something that will clear your mind.
Yep.
You know, so, you know, if you think, I know being on your phones, like even just Facebook, Instagram, I feel like it's still ticking your mind over. I feel like just putting everything down, phones, internet, just putting everything down and just maybe speaking to someone, going for a walk, or even just watching TV. You need to learn to do that.
Yep. Okay. So we're nearly at the end of this show. I'd like you to come back again at another time and talk to us more about the Tradie Lady Club, about your Instagram following, how that grew, and what you're going to use that for. So would you like to come back in the next couple of months and talk about that a bit more?
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Fantastic. Yeah. All right. Well, before we head off, what would be one thing that you'd like to say to the female trades out there? Is there any word of advice or anything you'd like to say, or something positive?
Keep going. There's a lot of us out there going through the same thing.
Yep.
If you need help or you want someone to talk to, we've got the Tradie Lady Club group on Facebook.
Yep.
There's hundreds of us there going through the same things.
Yep.
We've got each other to talk to, bounce off, and keep going.
All right. Thank you for your time. This is the Trades and Builders Business Show. I'm Miles Primrose, and I'll see you next week.
This is Ticker, your new source for news.